Let's dive right in. Today, we're stepping into a time machine to explore what was, quite frankly, one of the most magnificent urban centers of the ancient world. We're going to unpack the absolute cosmopolitan majesty of ancient Puhar, exactly as it's vividly captured in the classical Tamil epic, the Silappathikaram. If you love history, master urban planning, or just incredible tales of ancient wealth, well, you're in for a real treat with this explainer.
I want to hook you immediately with this absolutely powerful quote straight from Canto 2 of our source text. The untold wealth of the seafaring merchants of the rich city made even far-famed monarchs covet it. Just wrap your head around that for a second. We're talking about a merchant class so incomprehensibly wealthy that the most powerful kings of the era were actively jealous of them. That is the sheer scale of prosperity we're dealing with today.
So, where are we exactly? Puhar, which is also known as Kaveripoompattinam, was the grand Chola capital and an absolute powerhouse of an international seaport. Situated perfectly right at the mouth of the Cauvery River, it was this ancient global maritime hub, a place where East truly met West and where massive fortunes were forged out on the roaring seas.
Part 1. The Aristocratic Foundation, Mangala Vastu Padal.
To really understand this society, we have to look at the elite citizens who built it from the ground up. The epic actually kicks off with an arranged marriage that perfectly illustrates the dual engines of Puhar's economy. On one side, Kanagi's father is a Manimekalai, a highly celebrated sea captain handling vast risky maritime ventures. On the other side, Kovalan's father is a Masatuvan, an inland merchant prince commanding these massive caravan trade routes. So their union literally merges the two halves of Puhar's staggering economic machine. Both of these fathers belonged to an elite group known as the Nagara Thar. This was a highly prosperous, fiercely aristocratic merchant class. And look, they weren't just shopkeepers, okay? They commanded global trade networks and wielded immense socio-economic influence. The entire early narrative of the Silappathikaram anchors itself right in the middle of this incredibly successful mercantile society. But here's the kicker. They didn't just hoard all this wealth. The text paints this brilliant, vivid comparison, noting that they were liberal in his gifts like the rain-bearing clouds. In Puhar, your societal status relied on abundant charity just as much as your capital. Generosity wasn't just some afterthought. It was a fundamental structural pillar of their entire culture.
Part 2. A global maritime hub.
Zooming out from the individuals for a moment, let's look at the sprawling international infrastructure of the city itself. The text paints a brilliantly cinematic picture. Imagine the morning sun shining over open terraces, piercing turrets that have air holes resembling the eyes of deer, and illuminating these totally bustling harbor warehouses. The docks were absolutely alive. Merchant ships were pulling in like dark rain clouds, just depositing unimaginable exotic treasures from all across the seas.
And who exactly was trading at these docks? Well, the city was famously cosmopolitan. The text specifically highlights the Yavanas. These were foreign traders, primarily Greeks and Romans, who actually established a permanent, highly prosperous presence right there in the port. Local Tamils intermingled seamlessly with these foreign merchants, creating this thriving, diverse community where the prosperity just never seemed to wane. This global abundance literally flooded the streets. We're talking hawkers dealing in fine silks, fur, and cotton. Entire avenues were completely dedicated to corals, sandalwood, myrrh, and just a wealth of rare foreign merchandise. The variety was staggering. It was a relentless daily flow of wealth running straight through the heart of Puhar.
But that raises a really fascinating structural question. How did this overwhelming influx of global wealth, foreign traders, and massive cargo actually reshape the physical layout of the city itself? I mean, how do you even organize that kind of chaos?
Part 3. Urban Dynamics and City Zoning. The ancient Cholas were, quite frankly, master urban planners. They solved this chaos with a highly organized dual-district layout. Right on the coast, you had Maritime. This was the district for merchants, weavers, and those foreign Yavanas. It held all the messy, vibrant, loud vitality of international trade. Then, inland, you had Patronage. This was the district reserved for royals and aristocrats. It's brilliant zoning, really. It perfectly accommodated the heavy commercial needs of a port while completely preserving the refined luxury of the ruling class.
And get this, Puhar's economy quite literally never slept. They engineered the Nalangari, which was a bustling day market right alongside the Alangari, a totally vibrant evening market. The brisk business just continued seamlessly across both day and night. It was a constant, roaring engine driving the city's wealth upward.
To truly grasp that wealth, we have to examine the minute details of their mansions. The epic describes these lofty, multi-story homes where the elites would sit on gem-legged couches so exquisite they seemed crafted by Maya, the divine architect. They enjoyed the cool south wind blowing through lattice windows ornamented with jeweled hangings, carrying the scent of lotus and water lilies. The level of everyday luxury is just unparalleled.
Which makes this breathtaking assertion from the text completely understandable. Even if the whole world, encircled by the roaring seas, flocked into it, its wealth would not become diminished. Sure, it's a poetic exaggeration, but it perfectly captures the supreme economic confidence of this civilization.
Part 4. The Grandeur of Festivals.
So what did they do with all this boundless wealth? Well, they financed some of the most spectacular cultural celebrations of the ancient world. 28. That is the number of days the legendary festival of Indra lasted in Puhar. Canto 5 of the epic is entirely devoted to this monumental event. And it wasn't just a party, right? It was an essential civic duty deeply tied to the city's agricultural fertility and its continued prosperity.
During those 28 days, every single lane and bylane was alive with the sound of the drum, day and night. The religious vibrancy was astounding. As noted in the source material, Vedic sacrifices ordained by Brahma were flawlessly performed. Puranas were recited to the masses. Flutes, drums, and the beautiful human voice of minstrels filled the air in this massive, multi-sensory celebration. It was electric.
But what this really, brilliantly illustrates is the radical religious inclusivity of the city. You've got temples dedicated to Shiva, Murugan, Vishnu, and Balarama, standing alongside the temple of the White Elephant, Airavata. But right next to them are thriving Jain temples and Buddhist charitable institutions. This immense economic prosperity fostered a remarkably tolerant society where all these diverse traditions coexisted and celebrated together.
This deep unity is captured perfectly in one specific line. From the monarch to the mendicant, everybody participated in the festival. Despite the staggering wealth gaps that obviously existed between the gem-couch-sitting aristocrats and the field laborers, Puhar's cultural life was fiercely unified. The entire social hierarchy came together to celebrate as one single city.
So, to bring it all together, ancient Puhar wasn't just a rich city. It was structurally and culturally magnificent. It really serves as a socio-economic blueprint for the ages, successfully emerging massive global wealth with a society built on profound generosity, meticulous urban planning, and a radically inclusive culture.
I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder. If a city's true glory is measured not just by the gold in its vaults or the cargo sitting at its docks, but by the generosity of its citizens and the diverse harmony of its streets, does ancient Puhar stand as the ultimate benchmark for our modern metropolises today? Think about that the next time you walk through your own city. Thanks for exploring the Silappathikaram with me in this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.